What you doing, other nerds? I'm the AC, and this week was zombie galore for me. Here's why. So, I've already talked about Zomboat, I've talked about Walking Dead, and then I watched another movie called Little Monsters. So, there's been quite a bit of zombie stuff I've been watching this week. I'm going to talk about what happened. So, Zomboat, episode 6, actually wasn't as dumb as usual. The whole series I think has been dumb so far, but they actually did something a little, I guess, clever. Something I didn't really see coming, which I always enjoy surprises. And it was the blonde sister, because I don't care enough about the show, aside from the zombies, to learn their names. Turns out she's patient zero, and the people or the guys she kissed or fools around with turns into zombies. Um, they revealed that in this episode. I was like, oh, cool. Didn't see that coming. And it's pretty much the highlight of the series. That's all I have to say about that. Besides that, it was just this normal, like, eh. But something I actually did care more than that was a movie I found on Hulu. It came out last month called Little Monsters. Um, and it's about, weird to describe. It's about a teacher and another guy in a zombie apocalypse situation with taking care of like a class of kids. I think it takes place in Australia. To me, that would be the most annoying situation ever because kids, they make it seem like in the movie kids can be annoying little assholes because sometimes they are. I don't hate kids, but I understand how kids can be, especially in a group and when you're responsible for them. So, watching this movie, it has zombies in it, so that's what drew me to it. Also, the actress in it was also in Us, which was another movie I really enjoyed, in which I somehow predicted the ending of. It, anyways, that doesn't matter. That's a different topic. But yeah, this movie I felt completely neutral watching it. Like, it's not a bad movie. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I didn't really think it was a good movie. It was like meh the whole time. It's like it was intriguing enough for me to keep watching, even besides the zombies. And here's why. I have a very stupid sense of humor. I like seeing kids cuss. I see. I like seeing kids getting cussed at. Um, if there's a guy in the movie, I couldn't tell where I knew him from. His face was so familiar. He plays like this kids comedian, blah blah blah. One from one of those stupid shows kids would watch. He plays that kind of character, but then he's like an asshole to kids and all that stuff. A drunk, sex addict, blah blah blah. I didn't know where he was from, and then I realized he's from the internship, and it was like whatever. But there's scenes, and my favorite part is just him losing his shit, cussing out the kid. And besides that, it really wasn't much going on. But it's weird because I can't find any reason to say it's a bad movie because it had good moments, but it didn't have good enough moments for me to be like, oh, this was a pretty good movie. It's like I said, completely neutral feeling. If you take it, it's like taking a kids movie about zombies, well, and then like mixing it with a kind of raunchy comedy. Like it's a weird mix, but actually the way they do it actually fits together. But it's not a kids movie at all. Like this is a movie kids watch. Uh, but yeah, that's my neutral feeling on that movie. So the big topic for this week though is Walking Dead. If you haven't seen the newest episode, just stop watching this right now because there's a major spoiler. So, uh, Sadiq's dead. Sadiq gets killed by Dante. And it's really surprised me. Not just Sadiq dying at all. Like, ever since we meet Dante, he's kind of suspicious and weird. And I think even the other characters are kind of questionable about him. And it's because he, like, came out of nowhere. He's just suddenly a doctor. And it's like, here he is. And I don't remember if they ever say where he's from. Because in Walking Dead, people pop up out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you're suddenly a character now. They did that in season 4 with the doctor that was there. So maybe, I was like, it's not like they just found this random person, because they made it pretty clear, like, they're very suspicious of strangers at this point. So I was like, maybe he was a doctor at the kingdom that they just never introduced before, and when all the people moved, he was part of that group. I don't know, he was always fishing. And then you find out he was part of the Whisperers the whole time. And not only that, this whole time Sadiq has been going through PTSD symptoms, all that stuff, which is, understandable. We didn't see what he saw until this episode mainly. And this whole time he's been doing weird things, like just wandering off and like waking up in places he didn't think about. And I was like, oh, maybe he's been hypnotized. And then in this episode, it's when Sadiq realizes, when he hears Dante doing his little clicking sound, that's when he like finally remembers and understands everything that's happening. And it wasn't just that he was hypnotized, he was Pavloved, of all things. And it's the clicking that triggers him. And I was thinking maybe it was every time he was clicking, it wasn't just a flashback. Maybe he was also getting clicked to go and do all the other things that he's messing up on. Or maybe he wasn't actually doing anything wrong at all, and it was actually Dante messing everything up and making Sadiq think he was the one doing it. I don't know. But it was a good reveal, I thought. It was surprising. I didn't think Sadiq was going to die. And it was kind of sad. And it's going to be sad seeing everyone's reaction next week in the mid-season finale. Man. Yeah, it was... I really like Sadiq. And it's a shame to see him go, because transitioning into what would be in Talking Dead, Sadiq got brought in by Carl. I remember the actor's name, surprisingly. So Sadiq gets brought in by Carl, and then he becomes a big part, and then he's just killed. So in Talking Dead, the two actors was Avi, who plays Sadiq, and then Chandler, who plays Carl. And this was cool. One, it's cool to seeing Chandler come back and talking more, but it's cool to have those two because, they came, that's how Sadiq got into Alexandria. Carl brought him. So seeing these two actors, after they're both dead, come back and talk about, it was nice. But not only that, finally, someone else has said what I've been thinking about Negan this whole time. So Chandler, he says on Talking Dead, he's like, if you think about it, Rick and his group goes to the Savior's outpost and like just slaughters all of them. And not even that, some of them were sleeping. Like, this was a massacre. And then if you look at Negan's side of it, he only kills like 2 people from Rick's group initially. And Chandler Riggs points this out. I was like, finally, someone else says it. But it's also like Chandler Riggs, Carl Grimes, supposed to be Rick's son, blah, blah. It's like he's not part of the show anymore. Now he's just a fan, which is cool. But, man, I've been thinking that all along. I love Negan in the show. And they couldn't have found a better actor. But, yeah, I think Negan, this whole time, has just been great. And he has his own storyline going on right now. But yeah, and it's true. Chandler also says, like, if you watch this show from Negan's point of view the whole way, Negan will look like the hero, and then Rick will look like the bad guy. But yeah, man, so much happened in like just one thing happening. It all just cascades, and The only other thing about the episode I have to say is Lydia's an idiot. It's like, yeah, Carol kind of used her, but it's like Lydia. I don't know. I think that was the poorly produced part of this episode. Is like they're obviously trying to give Lydia a reason to go off on her own and figure her stuff out. But it's like I don't think they executed it well. I think they could have found a better way to do it. It just kind of seems like a dumb way or a dumb excuse and whatever. I still really enjoyed the episode. Looking forward to the next. The season has been pretty good so far too, and I'm really looking forward to how they're going to end this Whisperer conflict. But did you see the episode? Do you agree with what I said? Did you have other parts of this episode of the season that you really liked or really hated and you want to talk about? Let me know. Let's talk about some zombie stuff. Are there any other zombie things you've been watching? I found another show from like 2008 called Dead Set I might watch. It looks dumb, but it has zombies in it, so I'm probably going to end up watching it at some point. But yeah, let me know. Watch me on the zombie stuff with me. Let's talk about it. But, thank you for watching.